This is the first year that the Ponemon Institute has worked with Guardicore to survey CISOs and IT practitioners on how they perceive the legacy firewall in their data centers. So Larry, first of all, based on the results, what are the key concerns of firewall buyers?
Well, I think the number one concern of firewall buyers is that whether they can actually get legacy firewalls to work. You start out with a legacy firewall, a certain level of technology, and you change over time and you build new features around it. That becomes kind of the center of your security protocol. So if you want to have scalability, interoperability, efficiency, cost savings, you really need to integrate your technologies. They have to operate in almost perfect alignment.
How many people did you survey?
The sample size was over 500 respondents, I recall. And these are all senior level or highly experienced respondents. That's one of our crown jewels, that we really have the ability to recruit some very good, very talented potential respondents globally, not just in the United States.
The cloud presents problems for companies who are using legacy firewall. What is the main aspect that concerns firewall buyers?
Well, cloud is the future. And so if you can't operate in a cloud environment, especially the big clouds, the mega clouds, you're probably not going to make it as an organization. It's not even a security issue anymore, it's survival.
We're proud to be in the Forrester Zero Trust wave this year with the strong performers.
Oh, Zero Trust, my favorite topic.
How does Zero Trust affect the buying of the firewall?
Well, legacy firewalls can be pretty neat, but for the most part, it's breakable. It has certain features that would make it hard. Because with Zero Trust, you mean if you're going to be Zero Trust, it's a two-way street. Your vendors and business partners are also going to operate there. So Zero Trust is really a cool concept. A lot of folks have done PhD dissertations on it, and no one really fully understands the long-term impact.
So based on the reports, 75% of respondents said they were unsatisfied with the lateral movement controls, and given the rise in ransomware attacks, we find this concerning.
Well, the lateral movement issue is a huge problem for many companies. When you get attacked by malicious, weaponized malware, and we found that the companies that were, asked to pay a certain amount, extortion, $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, $100 million, it's unbelievable what these bad guys are able to get away with. And it's very hard for companies. And then the other issue is the integrity is kind of weird. It gets all of your data encrypted, and the encryption key is in the hands of the bad guy. And the bad guy says, okay, now pay me $1 million and I'll give you your key. And so you pay the $1 million, and guess what? They run away with the key and they leave you stranded. So crazy stuff happens with ransomware, and it is an issue getting worse by the day, so something to pay attention to.
So microsegmentation appears to be quite a popular solution and no longer a niche. Were you surprised by the number of people who are doing microsegmentation?
I was. I expected the number to be lower. But microsegmentation is a concept that's been around for a long time. But with distributed data processing and the use of the cloud, it's actually economically feasible to do it. You try to do it, even 4 or 5 years ago, and the cost would have been outrageous. And we see this with data centers as data centers merge. They're using microsegmentation more effectively. It's called security at the edge.
Yes, it looks like it's the basis for everything. This is interesting. 53% of respondents said they were ready to get rid of their legacy firewall and look for an alternative solution. Why do you think this is happening?
I think the idea of having a legacy firewall has become not appealing anymore to companies. Rather than historically, you would say, well, I'll keep the technology for a while. At least it works. It improves our security profile a little bit. So it's okay, we'll make small investments in it and then try to keep up with the state-of-the-art changes and update your legacy firewall. It takes a lot of effort, and I think companies have reached the conclusion that it's not worth the upkeep. It's better to take the big plunge now and make sure that the technology that they're using is effective and a good alternative. I also think that the COVID-19, or working from a home environment, has increased the need for microsegmentation and all sorts of good things, including changing the guard and getting an alternative to the legacy firewall.
What is your prediction on the future of the firewall?
Well, I think firewall technology is going to change pretty significantly. Right now, when we look at firewall technology, it's kind of the center of the world. Navigating this can be very complex, and so a lot of organizations are building a structure that ties in all the applicable systems where firewall still remains prominent, but it links in with IDS, IPS. But with digital transformation, we're seeing all sorts of innovations that we didn't even think about a couple of years ago. So there might be some issues over the next few years and it will improve the whole security and infrastructure.
Larry, thank you so much for speaking with us. This has been a pleasure and an honor.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure.